7 p.m. on Wednesday, October 22nd. Two members of our commission are not here currently, but are on their way. Here's one of them.
Oh,
Yes, Chuck, you're in the
spot
right
has
place.
been taken.
All right, I'm going to get started. This meeting is being broadcast live and is being recorded for rebroadcast. Our meetings are also available online at www.arbonguide.com. Is anyone present today making a recording of this meeting? If not, then I will start. The first item on tonight's agenda is a 7 o'clock hearing. William Coyle, DPW Director for the Town of Auburn, with a request for determination. Is there a motion to open?
I so move.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me. The DPW has submitted an RDA for work that we're proposing down gradient from the Pondville Pond Dam. During the inspection process of the dam, there's typically comments of things that the town needs to do relative to maintenance, and one of the things that we're required to do is maintain the vegetation in and around the dams. And so what we're trying to do to make sure that we stay in compliance is to remove any of the vegetation, which I believe is some photos that are attached, that is down gradient from Pondville Pond Dam.
Okay.
What we would plan to do is there'd be no equipment within the resource area. We would have men actually go physically walk in the river area and remove by hand, which they actually have to use chainsaws on some of these trees because they're, some of them 2-3 inch or more in caliber at this point. But we certainly want to get in there before these trees become any larger. They basically just be cut flush to grade. We would like to do the work at a point where there's little to no flow going over the dam, where people would actually be walking through that area. We obviously don't want water going over the dam and creating a situation where it's hazardous for them to be in there. So they would cut the trees, some of the brush, and just hand it off from one worker to another. It would actually be done by private workers. I felt for liability concerns of my own staff and potentially falling, that this would probably be better suited for people who do tree removal work on a regular basis. So they will hand the trees up and the brush up off into the upland area, where they'll have brush cutters, feed it through the brush cutter and into a truck, and then haul the mulch away.
Okay. Now, where would you park the truck, or would they park the truck?
It would be, depending on what side they're working on, obviously it'd be up on we'd have to come up through National Grid probably property to come over to one side of the dam, and then the other side. I think both sides town-owned property immediately adjacent to. So
Okay, so no private property owners?
not where we're parking, no.
Okay.
No, I'll make sure that we're on our own town property, because I don't want to have any issues with private property owners.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are these stones permanent, or are they being removed as well?
No, we're not planning on doing anything with the stones. It's more or less just
Just the brushes
clearing the
above
brush, and the sooner we do the work, and we can try to keep up with it on a regular basis every few years, just so that we don't want it to get to a point where we have trees that are a foot in diameter, because now we have a much bigger problem with getting in there and maintaining it.
Just a suggestion, you may want to look at it with an eye to my impression is that there's a chunk of the vegetation there that's autumn olive, which is invasive, which just takes over. So I don't know if you'd be approaching that any differently, just pulling that out and trying not to leave any of it behind, because that stuff will re-sprout and gets all over the place.
Which picture are you talking about? Is this bottom
Like where
one
you
here?
see the water, and right in the side of the picture,
That's the top picture.
on the right-hand side, I'm pretty sure that's autumn olive, and I know that there are other places along Mill Street there where
Okay.
right at the side of the road, it's this pretty good quantity of autumn olive, and that just spreads really rapidly.
Okay.
So
That's this right here.
Yeah.
I don't seem to remember there was much of it in that area back when, 7 or 8 years ago, back when you still had those big pine trees shading it out. I think
Right.
it has probably colonized that in the wake of those being cut.
Okay.
So,
And, Mr. Coyle, is it the intention of the DPW to go back every 2 or 3 years to just maintain it?
I would say probably every 3 years.
Okay.
We don't want it certainly to get too far ahead of us. I think
Sure.
this growth has been here far more than 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably been 6 to 10 years.
right, it's probably since those
Okay.
pines were taken
Yeah,
down.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay.
And I think it's, ideally, to get in there sooner would be better.
Sure.
So that we're dealing with 1-inch caliper, not,
Okay.
3 or 4-inch.
So because you're going to hire a private contractor, you'd be putting this out to bid fairly soon?
This is actually, I've gotten quotes, they're under $5,000 to do the work, which
Okay.
I was surprised. I believe it was $1,600 a day
Mm-hmm.
for 1 to 2 days they anticipate.
Okay. And when would you have the work done?
I'll have to check and see, I don't want to do the work if there's any significant flow going over the dam.
Okay.
So, and with the recent rainfall and that we're getting tonight too as well, if there's, significant water going over the dam, we'd probably hold off until it's better conditions to get into the river area.
Okay.
I can call, what I can do, and I was going to talk about that too on a further discussion item. I can send you an email just to update you, when we're going to go in there, just to give the commission a heads up on the time might be suitable to go in there now. If we get a dry spell and there's very little water in the area, then I think that would be a good time to go in.
Yeah, that would be helpful. But your goal is to get it done, say, before the beginning of December?
Ideally, but again, if it stays wet, we won't. We would potentially wait until even as long as next June or July.
Okay.
Because our goal is to go in there when it's relatively dry.
Sure. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions?
Fair enough.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, is there a motion to close?
Motion closed.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion on that? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion?
A motion to issue negative determination.
Okay.
second.
Provided that we get notice of when the work begins.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
You.
And since you're here, Bill, two items have come to our attention. Specifically, we know that there was a natural gas pipeline installed in the Central Street, and we've seen efforts to pave. Looked like there was some initial paving, and then some of the paving was milled out, and it looks like it was refilled.
Right, we're currently, we partnered with RH White's to do this work. The gas line, as you know, was installed towards the middle of August up to the first or second week in September. We've allowed some time for the trench to settle, just because, and it's probably going to continue settling, but before we went in and topped the trench, we wanted to get some time between the actual work and the top course, just to minimize the amount of settlement after we top it. So we are currently topping. We went in Monday afternoon and started just for a small area towards the end of the day, and then the entire day yesterday. I would expect that we're probably topping that trench for at least another 4 days it would take, depending on the weather. And then we'll be done with that. Now, I know there are several lateral connections proposed for, I think, a half a dozen residents currently.
Okay.
So I think over the course of the next 1 to 2 years, we'll probably see a lot of connections for NSTAR gas.
But that should result in minimal impact in the roadway. I mean, the connections will be coming,
Yeah.
going into the houses.
Right. I think all the work,
Although maybe
well,
sidewalks?
depending on which side, yeah, it'll be sidewalk work. I mean, there's going to be some work in front of the houses because they don't have gas currently, so
Okay.
they would be disrupting from the foundation to the street as well for the individual houses.
Okay.
I think most of the wetlands are contained towards the bottom of the hill. I think most of the connection requests that we've had so far, I believe, are at least 100 feet probably away from that area.
Okay.
So any excavation outside the roadway, I believe, would probably occur more than 100 feet from the wetland. But that's something I think NSTAR Gas, as we look at these permits, I can make a notation on their roadway opening permit that if they're within 100 feet of the wetland and the work is certainly outside the roadway, they should be filing with conservation.
Yeah, that would be helpful. And then when the trenches are filled in, or the cuts are filled in, it'll bring up the road to grade, or bring up those,
It'll be
It'll
flush
bring
to
it up.
grade. In fact, you can, if you've driven over it, just coming
I have.
across Central Square, we completed that. Unfortunately, we were hoping to have RH White mill the entire section of the trench for us. During the process, the goal was that they would do the excavation work and the town of Auburn would do the paving work, which we've done. But a lot of the trench has a lot of jagged edges, so I wanted to have a nice clean cut. It was never really defined that they would do that at a later date. So when I called them, they were a little surprised that we were asking, but they did go out there and do the majority of it. I think it's taken a lot longer than they anticipated, so costing them more than what they anticipated because there's no cost to the town. And so I think at this point, they've done as much as they're going to do for us, although there is still an offer to, on the lower portion where it crosses diagonally, to go back and mill that. And I did say that potentially next year, if it continues to settle, we would potentially do that. And then long term, once all the residents have connected, I would anticipate in the next few years, we would probably go in and mill and overlay the roadway, but we want to wait until all the connections are done and all the settlement is also completed as well. So that's probably a few years out.
okay. And does anyone have any questions about that? Okay.
When you're working across the road down near Central Square, is that within the buffer zone of the wetland there?
That would be within the buffer zone. I can say that the with the work that the town has done, we've considered we do a lot of the work with pulverizing roadways and resurfacing roadways, and I think that work has been done from what we've considered under the notice of intent that we filed, which we did check to make sure that it's still open. The order with all the extensions, we did come back in with a 3-year extension, and then with the Governor's Extension Acts, I have a time frame in here. I think it's still valid till like 2017.
I was gonna say something.
Yeah. I had Joanna go through it just to double check. So it's still an open order, which.
So you felt that covered?
Yeah, because it covers. We do complete pulverizing roadways. Typically, if we're pulverizing an entire roadway, when turning that road into gravel, if we're adjacent to a wetland area, we'll direct the contractor to put in silt fence, and sometimes if we're going to get heavy rain, we'll have hay bales installed as well. So we try to take any precautions that we would anticipate could potentially be a problem. We did Rochdale Street last year. We had hay bale silt fence installed. If there's no wetlands, then we wouldn't install anything. But that notice of intent, I believe, was work involving roadway work and also ditches, working in ditches as well. And there was a long list of ditches, which I think we refile in the future. We probably want to change exactly how that's worded, because there's ditches everywhere. And if you're cleaning one ditch, whether it's listed or not, it's not, any different than a different ditch. But what I had been doing in the past was anytime we were doing work in an area where, especially if I felt as though conservation might get a phone call from somebody, we used to email Ann in the past, so I can continue that protocol and email you, Mike, or I can send it to Sheila and she can forward it to the commission. So that way, if we are working somewhere where there's potentially going to be a phone call, you're already aware of it, so that you're not caught by surprise and then you wouldn't have any concerns, or if you do have any concerns, you can contact, say, listen, we've had some problems in that area. Can we meet and discuss it before you do the work? So we'll try to give you some notification, like I was doing with Ann, to you as well, or to Sheila, however you would prefer.
That's fine. To me with the CC to Sheila would be
Okay.
fine. And then the last item is 2 Winchester Avenue. You may recall that I think Mr. Reich and I had gone there over the summer, and we noticed that there was a drainage pipe, PVC piping, and the wall surrounding that and underneath that seemed to be unstable.
Right.
And then I know a letter was written I think by me to you, and then after that, I don't think we had a discussion about that, frankly, but
Yeah.
but I know, I think within the last month or so, someone went out there, someone from DPW went out there, and Mr. Ekstrom was here at the last meeting on October 8th and brought us photographs. It looks like that whole bank was armored with riprap.
Yes.
And it looks like some attempt was made to shore up the wall underneath the pipe, although I wasn't quite sure of what you used and how stable it is. Maybe you can enlighten us on that.
It was granite curbing that they used to rebuild the head wall in that area. And it was twofold. We were out there as a result of the comment or the order received from Conservation to, I think it first came through to me as a concern of the condition of that head wall, which it has been like that for several years. And so we wanted to stabilize the slope as well and rebuild the head wall. Additionally, we went in and reconstructed some of the sidewalk, which that work was based on a separate concern that was passed along to us. So I think the two things happened within a short time frame from each other, but both within probably the past 4 to 6 weeks, I would say.
Okay.
So again, it's something that in the future, what we can do is we'll notify you of any of the work that we're doing.
Are you satisfied that that head wall is now stabilized with the use of the granite curbing?
I haven't done a final inspection of the work. Typically, Mark Mallet, who does the work for me, is very good at stabilizing those situations with the structure. But I'll do a final inspection just to make sure I feel comfortable with it.
Those pictures are, he told me he sent them to our
email
conservation account.
Okay.
You want me to look at them?
Can we access the account?
Trying to remember if those are in there.
He told me he emailed them to that account.
Okay. Construction
There we go.
requested.
That's a lot of rock.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the
Right.
thing that struck me is, I mean, I understand that we had expressed concern about the slope was coming to pieces, but it seems like the fix is a bit excessive because the hillside there, as I recall, there was quite a bit of vegetation on the hillside itself,
Yeah.
and I don't know if this was seeded, but so
Yeah,
this
that
is
was
stabilized.
seeded.
This is seeded.
Yeah, that's been seeded. I would say that the slope appears to be at least a 2-to-1 slope. So typically anything that's 2-to-1 or steeper, you'd want to armor with riprap.
There we go. There's the
Yeah.
curving.
Yeah.
Are there any plans to enclose that channel?
Not currently.
Okay.
No.
I mean,
No.
you think in the grand scheme of things, at some point it will be?
In looking at it, I don't know if it will be because
Okay.
there's some benefit in having the open channel there with filtration for any potential sediment. If we close it, I mean,
Okay.
no, I wouldn't. There's no current plans to
right.
close that.
And that channel runs to Barber Avenue, doesn't it?
Yes, that's the area where it feeds to an area we reconstructed the entire drainage system down gradient when I first came here about 6 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, at that time, we tried putting a grate in front of the opening, which is probably 200 feet down from this area, to keep debris from going in there, which we removed because ends up catching all the debris and then the water flows right over it. So
Okay.
there is a fair amount of debris that comes through here.
Mm-hmm.
So by having it open, it allows us an area to maintain it and pull the debris out as well.
Do you have a maintenance schedule for that?
It's not a regular schedule. I mean, it's something where I haven't been out there since we did the original construction, and we haven't had any issues out there.
Yeah, I'm.
Unfortunately, we're more in bulk of the work that we do is we're always out fixing areas that are problems because of, we don't have the staff to be proactive, so we're more or less out making sure that there is a problem, we correct it immediately.
Right.
And ideally, it would be great to go out and maintain things proactively, but it's just,
I understand.
unfortunately, not able to.
Okay.
Yeah, these are before.
Before it was cleaned up, there was
Yeah.
all that
Yeah,
stuff.
that was when we saw it over the summer. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Coyle? Okay. Thank you for coming in,
Okay,
Bill.
thank you very much, have a good night.
You too.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, the next matter on the agenda is the 7:15 application of Valdette Manfron, a notice of intent for 498 Rochdale Street. Is there a motion open? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
Good evening, just for the record, I'm Scott Morrison from Ecotech. If you want, I can set this up. I think we have some people from the audience that maybe...
Sure,
interested as well.
please.
I just got this existing conditions plan. I've got a few sets that I can pass around. I just got that this morning.
Okay.
And I also provided a copy of, there's copies of the septic design plan that was done in 2006. Essentially, I'll try and give you the Reader's Digest
We're
version
gonna have to share.
Yeah.
of what's happened out there and
Here, I'll shoot you one back. You've got more people.
where we're going from here.
Sure.
Just to get everybody oriented, this is Rochdale Street here. This is 498. There's a common drive that comes up and then splits to provide access to the site here. Wetland resource areas consist of bordering vegetated wetland, which I've outlined here in green. So there's a pocket in the front here, area here. There's also a stream which comes down this hillside in the back that comes down and kind of stops it. There's like a berm there. There's an area that was recently regraded. Looked like a substantial amount of multi-floor rows, which is pulled out of here. There's a pile over in here.
Yes.
Because the Conservation Commission issued the enforcement order, we kind of scrambled, got the notice of intent filed on time, plan to follow up with plans. When I made the filing, I actually met with the Board of Health agent who had several concerns, things that we need to address. She gave me a copy of what I'll show you here is the approved septic plan from back in 2006, I believe, when there was an existing house on the site.
Okay.
Right. So this is up, this would be Rochdale Street up here. This is that back corner.
Where would it be on this plan?
It would be right
Just point to it.
here.
Okay.
So this driveway
This
would
back
come
one
in
on here.
here.
I see.
So this the house used to be back in here.
Okay.
So this was approved in 2006, Board of Health approved. There used to be a cesspool here, proposed upgrading Title V compliant septic system. That was never done. It's my understanding essentially after 2006, the property was abandoned, freeze thaw, and there was some issues with the house here. It got so bad that Board of Health went and actually tore the house down. So there's no house there currently. Based upon conversations I've had with Board of Health, it appears what we're going to do is construct this septic system as it is here. One of the concerns of Board of Health is that the well is within 50 feet. Because of that, two things will happen. Either the septic system needs to be moved to make that offset. Board of Health has to issue a variance for that, or we've got to re-drill a new well greater than 100 feet from this proposed septic system.
Okay.
That hasn't been specifically determined at this point.
Is that the best location though for the septic?
I believe it probably is, simply because another issue is it appears that he's going to have to construct a house in the same exact footprint of the existing house due to zoning issues.
So what about the area that's been cleared?
The area that's been cleared, we believe, he's gone in, he's hydroseeded it. I think the plan is to just let it grow back to
Okay.
what it used to be. Again, there is quite a bit of flow that comes down, kind of sheet flows through there.
Mhm.
There's some of the neighbors' concerns where, you know, are you going to build that area up? We don't want to flood out anybody else or cause a damming effect. So at this point, it's likely that the house will be constructed in the same location. Septic system will either go in the same location or somehow be shifted to try and get that 100-foot offset.
Okay.
Alternatively, the well will, we still need to nail down those specifics, but I wanted to come and just tell you, we're working on it. We've got plans. This is what we've evaluated. There's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things that need to be hashed out because
And
we've got issues.
there's no house plan yet.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
There also has to be restoration of the well, and that was filled in.
Mhm.
Where do you stand on that?
I just got this plan today,
Mhm.
but I can certainly put together, it doesn't look like he's done any fill. I think it was just a matter of pulling out the multi-floor rows. So I'd propose simply some shrub plantings and maybe some New England wetland seed mix to restore that area. It
Okay.
just would be this area.
Yeah. Now, when do
And
you
then
think?
this area's been hydroseeded.
Yeah, I saw that. When do you think you'd be able to have a plan ready? Just for the wetland restoration?
Restoration plan, I could essentially take this, write up a quick little narrative protocol
Okay.
and get that in.
Okay, so you could do it for the next meeting?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
Hopefully we can get the other issues hashed out in one comprehensive plan that shows exactly what's going to happen. So essentially we have to show this work on this section of the site.
Okay. Now, Mr. Benoit and I went over the weekend. We went back to the site, and did you get my pictures?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, we saw that the hydroseeding had been done, and there was an effort to put in a silt fence, but the silt fence wasn't installed properly. It wasn't buried in the ground, and
Correct.
clearly there are some gaps and whatnot. Is an effort going to be made to reinstall it
Yes,
properly?
I had sent the email off to Joe. I don't know if Joe's had a chance to get out there and entrench that, but
Okay.
we're proposing to go entrench that silt fence to make sure that you've got that buried flap.
Okay. And then I know there was an issue that Mr. Bellino had concerning there was some pipe insulation that we actually saw during one of our walks on the property. And I know Mr. Bellino was concerned that there was potentially asbestos in that pipe insulation.
Yeah, this is what it looked like.
Yeah, I'd forward those photos because at first I hadn't seen that on the site and I wasn't sure exactly what you were talking about.
Right.
Sent those off to Joe and we'll look into that.
Okay. Yeah, because I know DP has some concerns about it, and they're definitely paying attention.
Yep. And I think that was in the DEP file number comments.
Yeah, it was, as a matter of fact. Okay.
Like the silt fence would require hay bales as well, right? I mean, it sounds like they're gonna end up reseeding the property, but until that's taken, those are still required, right?
I mean, I think out of an abundance of caution, I would want double stake tape bales too.
Okay. Or would you, how about, straw
Or
wattles or
straw,
something?
the straw wattle would be fine.
Okay,
That's a suitable substitution.
okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, on the stream over here, so you're saying that just kind of goes into the ground, or where does that water go?
It's a well-defined channel down to a point here, and then there's a berm that kind of cuts across this way. There's some black cherry, some multi-floor rose, which looks like an old berm. It didn't look like it was newly installed. So I think water kind of crests over that and just kind of sheet flows throughout here.
Okay, because the obvious thing is,
Is
so it's
how-
filled
what's
in,
the connection?
You know, there's a wetland over here. The water's probably coming from over there. So I mean,
Yeah,
I would think.
water would come down here, over top that berm, and then it would sheet flow through here.
Yeah.
There's a channel through here, but I couldn't see any evidence of the channel, and I looked at the soils up there, and they were non-hydric soils, so without seeing what this area was before any work occurred, I couldn't definitively say, yes, it was wet.
There was a channel there.
So it's,
Yeah.
Where did you test for hydric soils?
there's a test plot right here,
Okay.
right in this low kind of swale
But
coming
how
up.
about closer to the channel? Did you test for hydric soils near the
In
channel?
here, yeah.
No, but I'm saying, all
On the
right.
Oh,
left-hand
going up
side.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked throughout here.
Mhm.
It's spotty where it's tough to, because there's no channel, there's some earth disturbance. I couldn't, because there's that vegetation break here and the soils break here, I couldn't definitively say one way or another. I think the solution to this is do the project up here
Mhm.
and ensure that any water flow just flows through here.
Right.
So that we're not, the last thing we want to do is put fill here
Yeah,
and
'cause
cause damage to somebody else's
on the
property.
left-hand side, and that whole area is a big hill, you know,
Oh,
so.
going up here, yeah.
Yeah, going up, so if there's water coming down, it's gonna go through that channel, it's gonna go somewhere,
Yep,
so.
yep.
I mean, I think, Chuck has a good point. The forest area has to be watered by some source. And it makes sense that it would be watered or supplied by that channel.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that,
Although I've never seen it flow. We've been there a bunch of times and
Yeah, there
I've never
was
seen it
water there
flow.
when we went.
I guess I'll have to
I don't
go
know
through
the
during
area
a
that well,
thunderstorm or
so.
something.
Seems odd for a channel to dead end like that.
That's true.
yeah, it's,
Okay.
What about those auto parts?
Yeah, I mean,
Time to
they're-
remove those.
The axles,
Yes.
We saw an interesting array of materials there. Some auto parts, an axle, it looks like a grill.
An old cab.
We can presume that those will be removed, right?
yeah, I think the plan's to clean it up, build a house, make it look good,
Okay.
get rid of all the debris and,
And so the plan is basically the excavated area is going to be allowed to basically resume its former state.
correct. Like you said, I'll propose a restoration area here,
Okay?
and then it appears the project's gonna happen
Right there.
essentially with where the
The old house was.
the house used to be.
Okay.
There's a barn, I think, over in here, but essentially everything will go here.
Okay. Any other discussion from the board? Okay. Is there any discussion from the public? All right. So, I mean, I'd like to continue the public hearing to, I think our next meeting is November 12th. Sheila, is that correct?
That's correct.
So with your permission and the permission of your client, we'd like to continue it to November 12th at what time?
Probably would be 7:30.
Okay.
That sounds reasonable.
Is that agreeable? Okay.
And in the meantime, I'll get you that restoration plan, and then,
All right, so motion.
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
perfect, thank you very much.
Thank you for
We're gonna
coming
have
in.
to sign. Request to continue.
You need to sign something?
You can do that, Joe, yeah. I can fill it out. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Not loud enough.
Serious. Turn it up.
Okay, the next matter on our agenda is the 7:30 public hearing. The applicant is John Stelmach of JW Land Development LLC for notices of intent for 4 single-family homes on Prospect Street. Is there a motion to open? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, it's a vote. Mr. Stelmach, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's everybody tonight?
Fine, how are you?
Good, very good. Hey Matt, how are you? Good. Long time no see. I don't think I have to introduce myself, because I think everybody knows myself. Justin, you have the green cards for the certified letters that were sent out.
Thank you. Yeah, don't mind.
Okay,
Okay, what we have in front of you is 5 A&R lots. 4 have the NOIs filed on them, lots 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
A 5.5 acre parcel, which contains the original house, Will Chance's house, on the property, is one of the A&R lots. No work is proposed on that lot. There aren't any wetlands on that lot. We filed the plan with the 5 A&R lots because the property owners want to get the 5.5 acre lot with the house and want to get going on it and move into it. So we went ahead and we filed with the 5 lots. The 4 A&R lots, everybody knows they brought in the plan prior.
Yes.
With the balance of the land will be proposed a subdivision on that property, along with 3 additional A&R lots as part of that. Because those 3 lots were tied together through several different things, the design as well as the wetlands on the property, we decided we'd keep those separate because these 4 A&R lots basically stand on their own. So that's why we came in and filed separately here. We also obviously would like to be able to go through the process, hopefully get approvals to be able to start building, because we can have the 4 A&R lots ready. We still have quite a bit of work left to do on the subdivision planning before we're ready to make a presentation. Hopefully we're hoping on coming in sometime in December with that plan. So as you notice, there's 4 separate filings. However, you have 2 plans.
Right.
Because when we looked at them, basically the two of the A&R lots, especially lots 3 and 4, they're contiguous with one another. With everything planning, it made sense to just present them on one plan.
They're like bookends to one another.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. I'll let Ken Hodgins is obviously done all the engineering on it, to answer any questions regarding the design. I think everything was laid out in the NOIs as far as how we're going to go about it and what we're proposing. As far as the development of them, we've pushed the lots, pushed the houses as far back as reasonably we could. Have the ground recharge systems in for the gutters. Propose replace the plantings with native species, take out any invasive species. For the disturbance where the driveways cross the wetlands, we have proposed the replication area on lots 3 and 4. And then what we did is we also proposed an additional square footage of replication up on lot 6. Now, if everybody remembers correctly, if we could pull up the ANRAD plan, maybe on the screen, I don't know.
I don't know if we have it. Do we have the NRAD?
I emailed over.
Oh, we did, he
Yeah.
emailed it to our.
Okay. Sure, there it is.
Second one down. Yep.
Excellent. Perfect.
As everyone remembers, that was the ANRAD plan that was approved.
Yes.
That's the west side of the property.
Talking about lot 6.
So
Yes.
sometimes it's hard to get to display in a
That's all right.
legible manner.
Big enough.
So
All right, that's the ANRAD plan. Excuse me, the A&R plan
Right.
that was filed with the planning board and signed. If you want to go right to lots 5 and 6,
Sure.
then I can just point out where the additional replication area is proposed.
You have that on a PDF or do you want?
If you scroll down, there should be 4 slides in there.
Yeah, all those colors and everything else. Yeah, that's 3 and 4.
Okay.
If you did, you want me to just
Please.
explain that one?
Absolutely.
While we're here?
It is so funky, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just,
Or keep me going.
if you see the whole page, there's no way to read it, and if you zoom in, then it,
Right, right. There we go, that's basically shows, so this is A and R Lot 3, this is A and R Lot 4. And you see they're close, they're kind of using common grading. We have the wetland area that's shown in this vicinity in the darker green. And we have 2 wetland crossings for driveways. One here that's just a little under 600 square feet, one here that's just a little over, and the wetland actually ends right here. So we're only encroaching on a couple of pointy projections at this location. Over here we have a box culvert that's proposed. It's 3 feet wide, 2 feet high. Not necessarily for the hydraulics, but to make an ecological connection between this wetland and the other side, so we're not cutting it off from any of the small critters that might be running along there. Over here we have a 3-foot diameter culvert pipe because there's no wetland on this side, so we just deal with the hydraulics. Essentially, we have driveway coming in. We've got the houses pushed back pretty much as far as we can, where we still have a little bit of a backyard. These are actually building envelopes. They're 70 by 35. The houses will probably be a little bit smaller. They'll fit within that envelope, but obviously we don't know exactly what the configuration, the jogs and so forth. So we wanted to put a big box in there and show what we're having. The same thing with the decks. So we have driveway going in here to a garage area, driveway coming up as far as we could from the wetland, coming into a garage area over here, and then some common grading up through here. This area is basically going to be untouched as we're planning it. There'll be a slope right here, and that's one of the areas that will have some of those native plantings. What we've called out for is anywhere where we have slopes, we're going to try and use the native plantings that Margaret has come up with for a planting mitigation plan. We are taking the drainage from the roof and we're putting it into recharge basins. We're proposing 4 for each building. The calculations work out to that amount for the basic building lot that we have. And that gives us the kind of mitigation that we would have in a normal stormwater management plan for a larger site with Class C soil. We're also trying to take, in this case, because we have these culverts, the driveway is actually going to come up a little bit and then come back down, coming into the lot, and then go back up to the garages in both cases. So what we've done is we've created a low point in the driveway, and then we've created a bowl here, which is going to be like a sediment basin, so that what we're trying to do is get the driveway to drain into a central location where we can put a little bowl so there's some sediment collection, and we're calling for a berm that will have crushed stone and be armored with a larger stone, an 8-inch minus stone, to give it a little bit of protection. But it's going to function pretty much like a sediment forebay in a larger detention basin, which I found really does trap out a lot of the sediments that would come down. We don't expect a whole lot of sediment because it's a driveway, but there's going to be some, standing in the winter and so forth.
Do you think if there's a heavy storm event, it could result in ponding at the bottom of the driveway? I know that the variations aren't that
Down
great.
here?
Yeah.
No, because this is actually coming back down towards the road from this. The high points are going to be here and here.
And okay.
So we're actually coming back. This section here is coming into the roadway. This section's coming into the roadway as well. So there wouldn't be, the ponding points would actually be right at this location on
That's
this
what I meant.
driveway. And
Right about there.
yeah, right about here in this driveway. So those are like the low points from the majority of the driveway. And then that will come back in here, and then it will drain into the wetland, but it'll have a little bit of cleaning capability with those sediment bowls, which is a lot more than most residential houses have.
Okay.
And I've taken a look at this wetland area now Every time there's been a rainstorm, I go up there because it's right around the corner anyway. And I've never seen any ponding. Even last week, with all the rain we got, I went up there. I couldn't even see a path of water flowing in that, to be honest with you. So I really don't foresee any kind of problems with drainage or ponding up there.
But there is sort of, this is going downhill to the right.
It's going downhill this way.
So there,
Right.
as I recall, there is like a drainage ditch on that side of the road.
On the other, yes. Well, actually, that drainage ditch is the wetland.
Yeah.
That's what we have flagged as a wetland. That is a low spot. The roadway slopes down about 2 to 3 feet
Yeah.
into that,
Good slope.
and that is what is characterized as a wetland area. So the water will, some road water is still going to come down into that. The side of the road, I did look, the side of the road that is facing the wetland area is what drains into it. Nothing appears to drain in from the other side of the road, so it's a pretty small drainage area actually, given the hill and the steepness and everything.
Now, the
Doesn't
sewer,
have a-
there's a sewer connection and everything to the street, right?
There are sewer connections. We're calling for one water connection, which is shown right here. There's a sewer stub out here already at this location that we'd be connecting onto and then coming up under the driveway. These both going to come up. The utilities are going to go underneath the driveways, so we don't have a secondary crossing. And there's a sewer connection over here, which should come up under the driveway. So we'd be putting the utilities in the driveways. We're not going up, making other wetland cuts. Essentially, that's the program for these 2 lots.
Okay.
And if you
The other two.
run to the next 2 lots.
Sure. That's it.
So these are lots 5 and lot 6. There's another potential lot over here. John explained we're not tackling at this point in time because it really is, as the way we're thinking at this point in time, we'd like to be able to connect that to the subdivision so we don't have to cross this wetland over here. We're trying to work that out through the subdivision process, but it's still tied into how we fare with the approval of the subdivision process. So it doesn't make sense to talk about this one now.
Okay.
That was that lot earlier that we had talked about, where
want the waiver?
had the driveway coming over and which way to make the choice.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're hoping to get approval to connect to the road.
Okay,
Yeah, if we do that, we don't have to cross this wetland
And we don't
at
have to
all.
cross anything.
that makes it easier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
basically, at this point forward on the whole project from there, the whole west side of the wetland area, we don't intend on touching at all, as far as to have to ask for any replication.
Right. And these 2 lots actually don't have any wetland impacts. We don't have any driveway crossings, utility crossings. The wetland is over here. For this particular lot, we're almost outside of the 100-foot buffer zone, which is out here. Most of our work is outside of where we even have to file. We've been able to keep it in that zone. But we still have, even though we technically might not have needed to, we're still following the same program. We've got the 4 infiltration basins and taking care of our drainage. In this case, the driveways in both these cases aren't draining right into the wetlands, so it didn't make a lot of sense to provide anything additional for those. There's going to be a lot of grass that, there's no piping or anything direct to it, so any driveway water is going to go sheet through 100 feet of grass before it gets to any wetlands, so that will be the filtration that would be needed. Over here we've got the four basins, and over here we have them as well.
So on lot 6, are you gonna have to raise that up so that you
This
don't
one
get
is-
water in the house from the driveway?
Yeah, this one is raised to about street level because it's close to the street.
Yeah,
Because that does drop off pretty considerably
I was gonna say,
at this point. Basically, both of these are going to be walkout back, the way we've got it graded.
and you're still not gonna do the 25-foot zone on this?
Yeah, this
lot,
one,
right?
we're totally outside of the 25-foot zone. We are working in the 25 to 50-foot zone. That's the 50-foot zone right here.
Yep.
So we have a little bit of work in that area. But most of our fill obviously is out in the front.
And we've cut the size of that house down. If you notice, the box on that house is,
Yeah, this one
building
is
location
smaller
is
than all the
smaller.
other ones.
You know,
It has to.
right.
Yeah.
To stay out of the 25
Yeah.
foot.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, we recognize that that's a tight lot, and but I think we're, you know, we've shown the design in a way that is going to minimize the impact. You know, so it's less impact than what we were considering before when we came in here. So we worked hard to move everything away and up, and I think we did a pretty decent job at that. As John mentioned, we are showing another replication area here, even though we don't have any impact. But John was willing to provide another replication area out there. Water coming in from the street, sewer coming in from the street, water, sewer, all coming into the front, pretty straightforward. Here we don't have sewer connections already, so we will have to cut into the street, but that's basically the only difference. Well, that's pretty much what the plans are showing. If you have any questions.
Okay. Anything from the board?
I think it probably has
We'll definitely get to that. So have these lots been cleared yet? Okay, all right.
Cleared as far as any work started on them?
I mean, have
The
they?
trees?
Have they, yeah,
No,
okay, all
nothing. Haven't been touched.
right, okay. Is there any comment from the public? And if there is, would you identify yourself by name and also your address, please?
I got a question for you.
Okay. Sir, your name and where you live?
Jim McDonald, 133 Prospect.
Okay.
I live right across from, right on the corner of Kelly and Prospect.
Uh-huh.
If they're gonna be cutting into the road for new sewer or water, whichever way they're gonna do it,
Right.
to avoid what happened down the hill on Prospect Street with the prior developer and the road being ridiculously broken up for
Okay.
a while,
Mhm.
is that part of the road gonna be resurfaced again after that? Or just patched?
Are you referring to the lots that are near Booth?
Yes.
Okay. That part of the road, we have received approval.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the lots that were on, I'm
Prospect,
talking
Kelly and
about
Prospect.
prior to all of those houses down along Prospect, when the builder cut everything in,
Right.
all of that was never redone, and the road was destroyed for,
Do you know who the developer was, sir?
what's that?
Do you know who the developer was?
I don't know,
Okay.
Are you talking?
but I know that the
beyond-
town went after the bond to have the guy fix the road, because he said he was going to, and never did.
Thank you for Vervain. Okay.
That was from the corner coming back down towards Route 20, or the other way, the corner going towards Oxford.
Yeah, going down towards 20, we're talking, yeah.
Right,
So it was,
okay,
as you go all the way up Prospect, as you kind of get to the crest of the hill,
right,
all in there,
right.
so.
And your question was
My question
regarding
was, is that if
cutting?
it's gonna be cutting into the road, is it just gonna be repatched or is it gonna be repaved?
Well, we've had discussions with Mr. Foyle, town engineer, and what we have received approval from the water department. Because the two A&R lots down below typically would require two separate services. And also, if we had to go out into the street to get to the sewer, which luckily we don't have to, so there will not be any impact to the road for sewer lines, but we're gonna put two water lines together coming across, so there's only one cut instead of two, that there would normally be. And then sometime down the road, there would be an additional cut in the road for the development, which will be coming in with plans for in the future, not too distant future. To answer your question as far as how that's done, Mr. Coyle has standards that we have to live by, as far as some things you do to make sure that you don't have any settling, is you use flow fill sometimes, which is basically like a concrete,
Yeah.
and it doesn't settle. And then you resurface, grind and patch the road so that it's as smooth as can be, and it'll stay right there. So that when you drive over with a vehicle, you shouldn't even feel it with your tires. That's the kind of standards Mr. Coyle will be looking for on that road, because that was just recently redone, I believe within the last 5 years. Okay.
John?
Does that answer your Question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not to interrupt, but is the planning board going to make you post a bond for your subdivision?
Oh, sure.
Okay,
Yeah, we will have some sort of security. Absolutely.
so,
Yeah.
okay. Did that answer your question, sir?
It does.
Okay. Does anyone else have a question from the public? Ma'am, your name
Christy
and...
Kashula.
Okay.
I'm at 129 Prospect Street, so I'm kind of at the corner of Kelly and Prospect as well. So I guess I just, you're up on the hill, you hear lots of things. We've been hearing about the subdivision since July. And I was a little concerned when I got the notice for the 4 A&R lots, only because I wondered where were the rest of the houses. So I will say my father's a builder. I owned 51% of his company for many years. I'm sure you know why, Mr. Stelmach. And I also worked in economic development and community planning for many years all over the United States. And my kids are very happy that there could potentially be some single families going up across the street because there could be kids to play with. It's great for our value, for our housing value, so I'm all for that. I've seen your other projects and they always seem to be, well done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But my concern is this. What I looked at was 19 proposed homes in the subdivision. I know you said you're still working it out. I understand how that goes and what that process is like. But you made a point to say when you came in that these 4 lots, and I know they're A&R lots, but that they are standalone. They're not contiguous at all. They will not be connected in any way to the rest of that subdivision at any point.
Correct.
So they're just on Prospect Street. So
Correct.
Kelly Street, this is why you come and ask. So I think you had mentioned, I'm sorry, I forget your name.
Ken Hodgson.
Ken, I'm sorry. Where Kelly Street is, I had heard there was going to be, and thought that I saw on the plan, a road connecting from Booth to Kelly, going through that subdivision. Is that incorrect? I know that went before the board, before the commission in July.
Yeah, that's not part of the current plan.
It isn't? So
No,
that's,
we don't want to do that.
yeah. Okay, no, again, so that has been scrapped. So that was part of the initial preliminary, and that is not now the case.
Well,
Because
it
considering
never-
that it looked like they were part of a subdivision that connects these 4 A&R lots, which would then not be standalone lots.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever part of the subdivision. It was never part of the plans that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
It was one of the things that had to be considered.
Sure.
And we're not contemplating that at all. We don't know until you get through the subdivision process. Sounds like you'd be a good one to come to the planning board with. But that's because we don't want to have a continuous road. So we want it to be a cul-de-sac that comes in opposite Booth, essentially.
Right,
and
so the
comes up.
cul-de-sac would come off of Booth and come in,
Comes
and I think I
opposite.
saw today, is it
Across
600
from
square
Booth.
feet? Across from Booth.
Right.
Thank you. And so it's coming in on that side of Prospect. You've got your little 600 square, whatever it is. Again, it's preliminary.
Yeah.
That, and there's going to be houses on that side. So on our side, right now, the 2 A&R lots.
There's 2 A&R lots. There's the house that is there now.
Right, the Latanza, yeah.
And there's one other lot that we were pointing at
I saw, yeah,
that we're trying to have the house on the other side of the wetland.
I see.
And that one would potentially have the driveway go to the subdivision roadway
Okay,
and not have to come out to Prospect Street.
okay,
And it would be set closer back and deeper off of Prospect Street.
right.
Into
Because
the
you
woods.
could based on that. Yeah, I've walked it, I've walked
Right.
it and seen it.
We're not-
So,
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
okay. But you're trying to do that. Could that change?
Driveway.
Well, we have to go to the planning
We
board.
have to go to planning board, yeah.
We have to go to
Hopefully
the
it
planning
won't
board.
change.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
we don't see it, and we don't see it changing. So indications so far are, everybody thinks that is the better way to have the subdivision go.
Right. So the wetlands for these 4 A&R lots, because it's really only 2 right now that are showing any crossings.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
So, and you did say, I know the plan is preliminary right now for the other stuff that you're moving forward on at a soon-to-be date.
Right.
That, was I hearing you correctly, you will not delineate any further wetland?
Correct.
Really?
That's our
That's the-
intention, not to cross any additional wetland or to have to replicate.
Well, we do for the entrance roadway.
Right,
Other than the
except for the
entrance
roadway,
roadway.
right, for the lots
At
themselves,
this
I'm
time.
speaking.
Yes, none of the back. I think what you said was none of that back westerly wetland. We shouldn't have any other impact.
So the square footage that's being filled now is approximately,
It's about 1,200 feet.
and if you were to add in what you're projecting for this other possible roadway, what would it come to?
Yeah, there might be another 2,000, 1,500, something like that when we get done. So,
But basically, the drainage channel is the wetland you're talking about,
Right.
not the one in the woods.
it's not the one in the woods
Which
that's,
is more of a, I would say, a natural wetland, but
yeah,
by our
Right.
standards, drainage channels are wetland.
right.
And the other two lots that'll be flanking the new road that we're gonna propose
Sure.
for the subdivision, those are technically A&R lots on Prospect Street. Would be, if they stood by themselves and we weren't putting the road in,
Right.
they'd be very similar to these
just
lots
A&R.
here. We would have to do a driveway crossing
Sure.
to push into the back. But what we have done, even since the original plan that we had brought in, we have deepened those lots on our plan so that we can push the houses further back
Two of these are incorrect.
and not to have any crossings and have the driveways, is what we're gonna be proposing, with those two houses to come off of the new road, so that we won't have to ask for any impact or any further replication on
They just use the same.
the easterly side of the wetlands, to create less impact, basically.
Sure. I mean, obviously, my concern would be is, having separate standalone projects, but then having a bigger development and filling in this and filling in that and going over the 5,000 mark and it's simply segmentation, which I don't believe is something that you would do, but I am a citizen, so I must ask.
Yeah,
That's
no,
our-
we're aware of the 5,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Of course,
We're-
of course.
That's our concern too.
So, and again, because, it would certainly be against regulation to do incremental filling, and my concern when I got it was, seeing the 4 filings for 4 standalone properties, knowing about the other subdivision plans,
Yeah, no,
it's a
we,
concern. My other concern is strictly cosmetic, because it is really pretty up there. I know that you're gonna replicate and try to put some other native species in and such. I'm sure my neighbors would probably say the same thing. When you clear the property, and again, I have a background in this, so I know it's traditionally done, are you clearing everything, taking down all the trees?
We try to clear as little as possible, and I can never promise.
Sure, for continuity's
until we
sake,
get there,
it'd be
but-
nice, but I understand sometimes trees.
I'm a
bend
fan,
down.
I'm a fan of trees, always have been, and if we put in developments, I like to try to keep them. I can't always keep them, just because of grading. But usually, if we do take trees down, we do replant trees as well. So, I hope that answers your question.
It does.
That's often a requirement of the planning board anyway, so that's not.
Right.
And I think as Mr. Stelmach has indicated, if you don't have to take them down, you don't have to buy new ones and replant them. Where are you in the subdivision process? When do you think you're going to get some definitive action from the planning board?
Well, we haven't even filed everything yet. It'd just be simple because we haven't completed the engineering on it. We wanted to take this step first.
Sure.
I've had pressure from the property owner to, like I said earlier, to convey the house, to get that. So, and again, because these 4 lots, we figured we would try to get this going. Again, that was a good point that she brought up regarding the 5,000 square feet. We have never looked at exceeding the 5,000 square feet with everything. I think we had mentioned that earlier at the first meeting when I came in.
Yes.
On that, and we will hold to that.
Okay.
I think we have a good plan, better plan than what we showed you before, what we're coming in for. That hopefully we will be, if I remember correctly, Ken, I think we're out of the 25-foot, we're not gonna be asking for any encroachment on the 25-foot, and I believe the 50-foot as well. Am I correct
There
on
is
that?
that other lot next to 6, though, right? I mean, we still haven't
Yes.
Future.
Yes.
Resolved yet.
Yeah, but if we can get that to be, the driveway to be accessed from the new road, we won't have to touch that at all, and that's my intention, to try to get that. But again, that's part of planning board approval process.
Okay, so you hope to file with the planning board next month?
I'd say we're shooting for
December?
December.
All right.
Yeah. We're hoping to get through this process first and then go right into that. Because it's somewhat connected together and, you know, just want to make sure that everything is okay step by step, basically, what we're trying to do.
Any other comments from the audience?
Sorry, guys, one more.
Sure.
On the other two, I think there's no impeding on the lots across from me, but on those others, 5 and 6, I confused them. 5 and 6 are closer to Booth and our lots.
No, 5 and 6 is
3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Any alternative analysis done to see if you could maybe not cross those wetlands?
There isn't any way not to.
It's a drainage ditch along the whole road, so.
But there wasn't an analysis done by anybody to see if you could.
Well, the only option really is to not have lots there. There's no way to have lots there and not cross. We did talk to the town about having a common driveway or having driveways come in and have utilities come in off the subdivision roadway with sort of like a hammerhead or something like that.
Right.
And that was not approvable. That's
So if you have that road coming in, you're saying there won't be any other points of access to those
yeah,
lots?
we can't serve these lots from that roadway through like an alley or something like that. We cannot do that. That, I think, is about the only alternative that would be other than a no-build.
Right. Can you go over why, again, you didn't entertain having a street come in from this other side? Can't remember.
From Kelly?
Yeah.
There's grade issues, there's site distance issues. We were, if we looked at, maybe that's what you saw, is I did a sketch that showed like an option of coming in across from Kelly, and it showed that we were going to impact that other wetland.
Right.
Because we had a higher fill. So we're going to impact a wetland whether we came in off that side or whether we come in off of Booth. And it just seemed to everybody that making the connection across from Booth coming up, you know, so you have this.
And the town won't let you come in on an angle, right? They want everything to be.
Well, there's a certain
that way.
angle that you can't exceed.
Okay.
But I actually looked at it with somewhat of an angle coming off here and then coming down.
Right.
And coming straight in and just bending the road here. That was an option I was looked at very early on as an alternative, not one that we wanted, but as something, because we had to look at coming in from different areas. And we were going to have an impact on this wetland over here. Over here, we come in, we're going to have to cross that drainage ditch wetland. We're going to come in, it's nice gentle grades, very little cut and fill. The roadway will just basically match the existing grade. We have some very nice little lots down in this area already. There's, you know, nice and flat land, and we come up and have a cul-de-sac come up in this vicinity. And these areas are actually somewhat contained in there. It's going to be a nice subdivision in its own little wooded surrounds.
Yeah, and if you see the plan, there's a whole wetland open.
Yeah, the wetland is all along this side, and then there's a major ditch that the town has an easement on that goes down here. I mean, it's quite a gully that's fed from land over here that luckily doesn't come through our site, but comes down, hits Prospect Street, comes down here. It's a little bit of a discharge pipe, and then there's a pretty good-sized gully that comes down here and goes through, comes out both sides of Herb Chambers' site.
Yeah.
It's a stream down there.
I know exactly.
So that's where, and that wetland all drains into that. It's an extensive
And this is the
overall
grade.
hand size.
This is across
Yeah,
the
this
hill,
is,
so-
right, this is a good grade, or it kind of falls off in this direction. So I mean, the nicer lots are probably over here as opposed to here. As you saw the A&R we're doing, it requires a lot of fill. So these lots probably require less of that. There's a nice opportunity, you know, talking about sidewalks and subdivisions, matching up with subdivisions. You know, these two subdivisions and walkways, and I could just see people out here walking and, you know, coming around and having a nice little walking trail almost from one subdivision to the next. Seems to make sense for everything. Makes it harder for me because I gotta take the drainage and get it around the corner. But other than that, you know, I could just come down here and But it's more difficult from the drainage standpoint, but it makes for a better subdivision, it seems like, and everybody's,
But then the other limitation you said was they wanted to keep 5 acres.
oh, yeah, this is
That's off the
This is
table.
pretty much off the table. That's staying, which I think most people are probably happy about too.
Originally, that wasn't the case, but it turned that way, so.
Right, so you can see, I mean, you're gonna have a nice little subdivision that kind of goes around this nice big open lot and a whole lot of open land out here that's wetland in the back, and it really could be pretty nice. And there's really no reason to try and make a connection through, you know, there's all kinds of reasons against trying to make it go from one road to the next.
I do have one question for John. Are you proposing the additional replication as consideration for your waiver requests for lot 3 and 4?
Part of the whole filing of 3 and 4, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and how many square feet of replication are you proposing on lot 6?
I just did some math for you.
Okay, thanks.
So,
Very much
they
the
got, yeah, the overall between the 4 lots is about 1,200 square feet of wetland area being closed, but they're replicating over 2,000 square feet total. That extra one on lot 6 is 700 square
Right.
feet, and that puts them over the 1.5 time requirement.
Right,
So that's
Perfect.
really nice, and more than enough, so that's very nice.
okay, all right.
We've tried to take in consideration everything as far as the new regulations go, as well as all the other pre-existing regulations
We understand.
for the wetlands. It's always come down to, for me, looking at it as a layperson or as a builder, we've got 2 wetlands that we're dealing with. One's on the east side, one's on the west side. It's, you know, which way do you go with it? I've considered the west side, and I consider the west side wetlands because they feed into a larger wetland area, whereas the other wetlands on the east side go into a drainage ditch and go into a culvert pipe, basically. That's why I proposed the additional replication up there, to enhance that wetland. And with the subdivision, when we do come in with the plans for the road, in the crossing of the road, there will be replication, additional replication along that whole easterly side of the westerly wetlands in that area that will be come along with the subdivision plan.
Okay. Any other questions?
One thing I noticed is it looks like there are a couple corrections you need to do with the site locus on the submission for 5 and 6, because the approximate site location on pages 30 and 31, and also I think the other site locus page, points to the same location that 3 and 4, when it's a significantly different location.
I didn't
So,
pick that
All
up.
4
It
of
looks
them point
like
to the
all
same
all
spot.
4 of them
Okay.
point to the
Yeah.
same spot, when 2 of them are in one location, 2 of them are in a significantly different location.
And they also had a topo map on there to the site.
Yeah, so it looks like
Okay.
a couple of the locus pages, just double check that.
Okay. Probably in the fury of trying to put everything
Just
together.
trying to put
I mean,
one
it just-
one photo for all.
You saw the box that came up here.
Oh, I
Yes,
did.
indeed.
So the one that came in the mail.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
Biggest pile of paper we've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, might be a little redundant, they are on the site plan, so it's separate ones.
You know, now that we have plans for specific A&R lots, I'd like to go back onto the property and just take another look, if that's agreeable with you.
Absolutely.
How does the board feel?
Obviously.
Okay. So, do you have any objection to continuing? One second, ma'am.
Sure.
Any objection to continuing this hearing to November 12th?
No.
Okay.
And if you'd like me to, if the board wants to meet all together, I would be happy to walk up to the
I,
site.
for one, would like that.
Okay.
You know, I don't know what everyone's schedule looks like for this weekend.
I'm away this weekend,
Okay.
but next weekend for me.
I'm right.
I think I should be able to come.
This weekend?
I think so. Saturday.
Saturday? Louise? Michelle?
I'm actually here.
Outstanding.
I know.
Come for a sidewalk with us. Okay, how about 9 o'clock then?
Sure. Saturday morning, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and
All right.
where should we meet you, right? On Prospect?
Why don't we, the house is unoccupied right now, and it does have a circular driveway. So
Okay.
why don't you go, we'll meet right at the existing house.
Okay.
And we can park right in the driveway off of the street.
Okay,
Make it easy, and then we can walk back down Prospect, or we can walk through the woods, you know, to the locations from there.
that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay. So was there any comment from the public?
No comment. I was curious, because this is my first meeting ever in the town of Auburn, because I've done most of my business, even though I'm a civilian here, in the Midwest.
Uh-huh.
and in the state of Virginia. Does the Conservation Committee utilize a consultant?
Perhaps, sometimes we do.
Sometimes.
But
When
are you
needed.
on this particular project?
Well, I can tell you that for the Anorad, we didn't. You know, we're very familiar with the work of Margaret Washburn. And in fact, in the interest of full disclosure, we in fact have used Ms. Washburn as a consultant on other projects, not Mr. Stelmach's project. And so we,
But
again,
didn't
speaking
we
for us,
ask Mr. Rockwood about,
we did, actually, we did.
did have an alternate?
So,
From
We did
EcoTrack?
actually have,
yes.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, so actually, now that Mr. Olson has refreshed my memory, thank you, Chuck, we did have a consultant, and I would say for the A&R lots, I can speak only for myself, probably not, but the subdivision, that may be a different kettle of fish. And we'll see when we get there.
yeah, I mean, when he was bringing up more of the issues about the big wetland in the back.
You're right, I forgot about that.
And, yeah, so we did have him stuff as a peer review.
Okay, thank you. Is there any
Thank
other
you.
comments from the public? Okay, in that case, when's 7:30 on
No, we already
Route
have
12?
We're already 7:30. I've got the other one at 7:30. I know
Okay.
I've got two other ones coming in.
You're right.
45?
Well, unless I wanted to, I don't know if I gave them a time yet. I don't know, quarter of 8 be too late for you?
Getting close to
Falling
bedtime.
asleep at 9 o'clock or something?
Bedtime.
Okay, so 7:45, November 12th.
Sure.
So
There
moved.
there a motion, second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, it's vote.
And 9 a.m. Saturday.
9 a.m. this Saturday.
Sorry, I got this.
20. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Hey, Matt, nice to see you.
Thank you. If I had a card, I'd give it to you.
Wow, okay.
We try to respect.
Heavy. Where's down?
There's a bunch of miscellaneous.
We do.
Minutes.
Yep.
That,
We do have this determination to sign for Bill Coyle.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Pinrock, yes.
Okay.
Maybe we can do that next.
Why not? What I was going to say is that the next matter on our agenda, Ms. Conroy,
Yes.
is we have received an as-built plan for 12 Paul Revere Road
Oh, okay.
in Auburn. And Mr. Bedoy and I did take a view on Saturday,
Okay.
and we thought the plan complied with what had been submitted to the board. Everything appeared to be in order. Matt, what do you have to say about that?
I agree.
Okay. So can I have a motion? They were, the plan had been submitted in order to obtain a certificate of compliance.
So moved.
So Matt's moving.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, it's a vote.
it. Okay,
Here's the as-built.
okay, great. Thank you. Okay, let's get that.
Here you go, Sheila.
It's funny how sometimes Google Maps will give you nothing. Like, just Paul Revere Road, nothing.
Oh, if it's across the street anyway, you can.
I don't know.
Elizabeth Drive, or Deer Drive.
Second.
Alrighty, here's some, let's start signing that. This gentleman's here for 25 Penrock.
Is this Mr. Satchel?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you come on up, please?
Hi.
Hello?
So I'm having electricity ran to my house by National Grid,
Okay.
and I emailed the easement to see if I bring one in.
I think I sent that in the packets. Did everyone see that?
I have a grant of easement. I don't think I have a sketch though.
Yeah, there was a little.
Oh, I do have a sketch.
Okay.
Okay, I did see this.
National Grid's environmentalist specialist, she looked over the easement and she was all set with all the poles except for the first one coming off the street. She wasn't too sure whether or not it was going to be inside the hay bales. Yeah, I think it's P.
850?
Yes.
Okay.
She wasn't too sure whether it was inside the hay bales, so I didn't know I could email you guys the pictures. So I
Okay.
actually printed them off. I went out there and I measured 103 feet from the one pole and 123 from the other pole to show where they would meet.
Okay.
And I mean, I've got, this is from, if you're at the end of the driveway, the pole to the left, 103 feet. And I only had a 100-foot tape measure, so I showed where I started up again. That's the 3 feet mark. And then here's coming from the other pole. Just showing that. Oops, sorry.
That's okay.
Showing where I started out the 100 feet again to go the extra 23 feet. And it comes to the cone at the end, and then I took pictures of where the cone is to show that it is inside the hay bales. So I asked National Grid why they wouldn't be the ones coming in, because it seemed kind of backwards to me, since, you know, I have my easement going to the house and they did theirs. She was unsure of the work that they did.
Okay.
So all she wanted is something saying that it's approved, that that pole is okay to go. And
Of course, that's all she wants.
from the pictures and all the measuring I did, and I was there for an hour just, you know, measuring differently to try to get it. And if you do it exactly the way that they have it, I finally was able to replicate it, and that cone shows that it is on the inside of the hay bales, not
Okay.
outside of it. So,
How long have you owned the property?
about a year. I actually bought it from John.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
remember building this site.
We've, yeah, we've walked that property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what? So National Grid is doing, what kind of work are they doing there?
They're running electricity to the house.
Okay. And they wanted you to come and see us.
Yeah. Trust me, I was blown away. I was like, so I have the easement where the driveway is,
Right.
and then this gentleman named James from National Grid came out and he does the pole placement.
Uh-huh.
So then I asked her why she wouldn't call James, or James wouldn't be the one coming in since he did the pole placement. So I did all this work, and James was right with the pole placement.
Because they
And
don't
so
want to pay James overtime.
I just need someone to say James did a good job, and they can start putting electricity on.
So you, wait a minute. Do you have power going to your house now?
No,
You don't?
no. I'm in the middle of construction.
Okay.
so.
Right. And you didn't file with us because you're not building within 100 feet of any wetland. You're going to tell
no.
us.
Yeah, they filed quite a while ago. Remember
Yeah.
when there was a problem with the
Pipeline,
gas? Or what was
the
it?
wetland.
Yes.
In the initial,
They had to
John, when he
change
did
the
it,
driveway.
yeah.
Remember the driveway was gonna cross over the gas line?
Oh,
Remember
yeah, yeah, the
that?
gas line.
And then we
Yeah.
had to put a
Yes.
whole new driveway.
John had an old plan, and then the
Yeah.
gas company.
And we
was
issued our
bought out.
conditions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we did it all in March, and then I think
That
this
wasn't
came
that
through.
long ago.
No, March of this year. Everything was order conditions put in and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, so I've been kind of dilly dallying with the electric. So here we are now.
Well, members of the commission, what would you like to do?
Sounds like they need to see a copy of the approved order conditions, just for proof that they can move forward.
Well, that was recorded. That's a matter of public record.
Right, but it seems that trivial,
Are
but
they that lazy?
that's just what it seems to me.
Can I see the pictures?
So yeah, they're kind of.
I mean, I heard your methodology, and
This is the
Triangulated.
this is the
everything or
left
something.
pole.
okay,
So I come from the left pole, and then my tape measure is only 100 feet long.
gotcha.
So I had to start again at 100,
Uh-huh.
and then it shows at 3 feet on the cone, and then this is coming from the other side, and then this shows 23 feet on the cone, and then this pretty much shows where the cone is. This is looking towards Pinrock from the driveway, so I'll show I'm inside the hay bales, and this is looking up
Okay.
the driveway to show that it's still inside the hay bales.
They haven't started installing the line yet.
No, actually, they keep calling me because they want me to sign the easement and go ahead, but then I have to pay monthly. And I told them, I said, well, I'm not going to start paying for you guys to do it when you're not able to do it until the poll's approved. So
Okay.
it comes down pretty much, I just need the pole that's inside the hay bales that they were worried about being approved.
I'd like to take a look myself. I mean,
Okay.
I think it's probably a 5-minute trip, since it's the first pole right at the in the vicinity of Pinrock Road, and we are going to be doing some site walks on Saturday anyway. So I don't think you have to come. If you could just leave the pictures with Ms. Conroy,
Yeah,
and then we'll take a look. And I'm sure, again, based on your your detailed measurements, that everything is fine.
Yeah.
Dan, what's the Gmail account of the Auburn Conservation Commission offhand?
Fancy you should ask, Chuck. Yeah, it's
That's email us, yeah.
auburnconservation@gmail.com.
AuburnConservation@gmail.com for those at home, if you want to send us any love notes or whatever. But that's just, yeah, so that's a good method of actually giving us the information then, is through email. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
We all,
All right.
we all end up
All right,
getting
that's good. I like that. Auburn Conservation, one word,
one word.
at gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Okay.
And I called, I think his name's Bill from DBW. He does all the pole placements on the streets.
Okay.
And he said he couldn't come out and do it because it's a private road.
Uh-huh.
But I just wanted someone else to come, and to
Okay.
see what I did. But he said it's a private road, so it's up to me. So I did the pole placement.
Oh, you're always on that.
I'm impressed. I am impressed. All right. Well, again, you know what? Because as Mr. Olson has illuminated, we do have an email account, auburnconservation@gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
Is that right?
Yeah.
We'll give you an option. If you have these in JPEG form, if you would rather email those to our account, you could do that. Or if you want to leave us with the pictures, that's fine too.
Yeah, I'll let you keep them and I'll email them as well. Just so
Cool.
in case someone's at home and they want to check them out.
That's
Want
outstanding.
to look
My
at
work,
it?
my little helper, my son helped me too. So
Great. All right, Mr. Satchel, so we will take a look on Saturday, and again, I suspect there will not be any problem. And then National Grid wants us to do what? Send them a note?
yeah, she wants us a handwritten letter saying that Conservation Committee approves the pole placement. I was blown away when
Okay.
she told me. I was
I
like,
mean, if you have a name and an address or some contact information, we can even do it directly.
okay, I'll send in the email.
Or even an
Yeah.
email address,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Or perhaps. Okay. All right, thank you. You're all set.
I'll do that,
Are you
actually.
gonna send that email to me?
Oh boy.
Yeah, sure.
Because,
Well, you want me to send it to Auburn?
the
Auburn Conservation.
auburnconservation@gmail.com.
Yeah, you should have
That'd
that
work.
memorized by now.
I think that'll work, right? Right, Dan?
So would I have to come back on the 12th of November? Or?
No.
Awesome.
Okay,
Thank you.
come in.
Kind of amazed that
Yeah.
domain was open, because there's other Auburns in America.
Yeah, that's true.
This is my email.
I have yours memorized.
You do?
Remember he's given it over a couple times and then
Just
I went
wanted
to
you to
his
use
spam
that one.
mail instead.
Do you,
Oh, yes, that's
do you really
right.
want members of the
Okay, I'm
public to
sorry,
send us love
remember
notes?
that.
Absolutely.
I
All right.
don't know about that.
Absolutely.
So you're
We'll-
gonna
we can have a
send-
spam
you're sending it
folder.
to the Auburn Conservation.
I think we need to have a
Chuck
auburnconservation@gmail.com.
Oh, they want
Let's
to
give
make
it
comment.
individual love notes to
Good night.
individual
Thank you.
Conservation
Thank
Commission
you.
members in Auburn.
We'll give Chuck his own subfolder. How's that?
Hey, whatever you like.
Okay.
I think we
Are you
should,
kidding?
say that at least once a meeting, what our email address is. Just like we do to have people say who they are when they
Yeah,
come
but
up
what
with
if
the
our
info.
account gets hacked? That's not a good thing.
Well, you know what? We're
Because
also
you'll never
should
figure
be,
out that password, like 15 characters long.
is our email should be on our
You're right. Okay, well, one thing at a
on
time.
the
all right?
agenda.
Okay, moving on, if we may.
Yes,
Come on. It's,
there's a game on.
I don't think
somewhere.
there's a game on, no.
There's always a
Not
game
a game
on
that
somewhere.
matters. All right.
Is there?
The,
I don't
the
even
next
know.
matter on our agenda is the Faith Avenue appeal. Since our last meeting, Town Council, I think I advised members of the commission the last time, has gotten involved And in fact, a letter was sent to our account, written by Attorney Hennigan to Attorney Matthew Pinkton. Mr. Pinkton is counsel for the Massett Family LLC, and he instructed Attorney Pinkton and any agents of the Massett family that communication should be made through Attorney Hennigan while the appeal is still pending. There was some discussion about the Massett family filing a stay of their appeal so that informal discussions could take place. I'm not aware that that has been done, and I think for the time being, the appeal for the adjudicatory hearing is still proceeding, and so at the present time, there's no schedule or no plan for any informal discussions regarding the Faith Avenue relocation. So that's kind of where we stand on Faith Avenue right now. The next matter is 71 Hill Street. Mr. Benoit and I actually went by the property on Saturday. We did see some evidence of some. Now, we've been there before, and I think Mr. Reich and I have been there before, and we saw a fair amount of of grass clippings that had been placed near the wetland. When Mr. Benoit and I went this past Saturday, we saw some evidence, but not as much. And coincidentally, I did receive an email from Ms. Haggerty, who lives there with her husband, asking when we were going to come by. I advised her that we had in fact stopped by on Saturday. She was not home. She told, or in her email said, that she could be available for members of the commission to walk the site with her on Saturday, November 1st, which is not a good day for me, but may certainly be good for other board members. Or Saturday, November 8th is also available, depending on what your inclination is. I have to be out of town on Saturday the 1st, so I can't make it. So.
I can do either.
Yeah, me too.
I should be able to do at least one of them.
Okay.
I'm good for both.
Well, we don't have to go twice. We can go once. How about if we go for November 8th? Does that sound good? Okay, so I will let her know that we will see her. And right now, can we suggest 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the date on that? I'm sorry.
November 8th. That's a Saturday.
Actually, kind of procedurally, should we, is it an open public hearing when we go on site visits?
No.
No.
No, because you
No.
haven't scheduled you haven't given that meeting to the town clerk.
I see. So we
Is
don't,
that right?
there's nothing we publish or anything, and
No.
but people could come or not.
Oh, that would not. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we've always gone on
I don't
site.
imagine that would
don't hide
logistically
when we're
work
gonna
very
do
well.
it. I'm just asking a
We've
question.
always gone on site walks, and there have been site walks where 3 or 4 of us have gone. There's never been an issue of it having to be posted.
No, I guess I'm not talking about the posting thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm just wondering if,
Um,
like if, for instance, on the Prospect Street thing,
Mhm.
if people from the neighborhood wanted to go on that sidewalk,
I
is
think
it allowed?
I think it'd be up to Mr. Stelmach.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it
You
would
know?
complicate things at
I
very
mean,
least.
I think it's really the property owner that can decide who can go
I
onto his
see.
property.
Okay.
Okay, but thanks for
And it's
raising
not a
that.
meeting per se, because we can't discuss anything.
I know that part of it, but I guess I was just, yeah.
Yeah, we're just
okay.
taking a look. Okay, the baseball field and garden shed, nothing, so we'll just carry that forward. I have not been by 280 Packagug Street to see if
Still
anything.
there.
Is it still there?
Still there.
Did the letter go
In
out?
fact, I think the pile got a little bigger.
It got bigger?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
But we had a specific conversation with the homeowner on that property, yes? Didn't he appear at our previous meeting?
No, that
No.
you're
Oh, I'm thinking about
confusing
different.
that
Oh, I'm
with-
thinking about
that's
different
not-
property. Okay, so have we had any direct contact with the homeowner?
I received a call from their daughter several weeks ago, and she advised me that they were going to clear it out. So I think
We should
that's the
ask them
case.
to appear. No.
I'd have to see what the letter said. I think we instructed them that we wanted the pallets and the tree debris to be removed. I don't think I ever saw a copy of that letter though.
I'll see if I have
Okay.
sent it to you. I'm pretty sure I sent it.
I don't think so.
I had really?
Yeah, really.
Okay.
Hmm.
No, I'm making it up.
I'll
No,
check.
really.
But yeah, I mean, if we
So-
didn't get a reply.
Well,
Well, I've called and left messages at other places too and haven't heard
Maybe we
back.
should ask
I had
them to appear.
recall.
I mean,
I'll tell you what, if you will send me, if you can find that letter, if you could send it to me, I will send a reminder to them.
Okay.
I mean,
And
give it
then-
a couple more weeks, we could have snow on the ground.
And I think we will ask them to come in at our next meeting. Okay. Regarding the gas pipeline, shame on me, I have not made any calls to the MACC. I will. And again, I haven't heard what's happening with that. I mean, I know you sent some information about
Yeah, wasn't there an email?
carbon
Yeah.
and fracking.
Every so often, MACC sends stuff
Yeah, I think I
and
saw an
forward it
MACC
on.
note about that.
So in any event, I promise I will call before the next meeting. For a certificate of compliance request, we still have not received
Those
as-bills.
two people I called twice and I finally got in touch with them today. Sophia Drive, she changed the engineer, so they're hoping next week they'll have it.
Okay.
And I'm thinking pretty much the same thing with Millbury Street. I spoke to Paul, I can't think of his last name right now, but
Okay. So
I
you,
spoke to both of them today. So they're working on getting the as-bills.
So
I
you-
said, well, I'll leave you on the agenda. I think Millbury Street was hoping to have it for the next meeting, and the other people thought they'd be getting theirs in a week.
okay, so if we get them before November 12th, maybe you could provide them
Yep.
to me, and then we can maybe
Yep.
take a look so that we can act on it at the next meeting. Okay, that's good. So we'll carry that forward to November 12th. Enforcement orders for 490 Rochdale Street. Clearly, it's going to remain in effect, although I will say that, I mean, based on Mr. Morrison's presentation, it appears that Mr. Goodman has abandoned his project for the area that he cleared out,
Yeah.
which took me by surprise.
I'm thinking that might have been because of the house placement.
Mhm.
I think he
Pre-existing
was
plan.
thinking of moving the house.
Yeah.
And I think with the grandfathering or,
But it was interesting what he said about there being zoning requirements requiring them to use the pre-existing house location.
right.
So that suggests that was something he did not know about when he
I
cleared the
think the
field.
lot doesn't
Agreed.
have sufficient frontage.
That's my thing.
If you
That's
recall,
unfortunate.
when we first went there, he was talking about putting a road right to
Something
To
to that
Rochdale.
effect.
Yeah.
It's,
through that lowland area.
The zoning
so-
being he doesn't have the frontage.
it
Yeah.
sounds like he was unaware of a number of different
Yeah,
factors.
yeah, that's true.
So, in any event. Okay, so we will carry 498 Rochdale Street forward. Route 12 and 20 again, the project is still ongoing, so we will continue to carry that forward. To Winchester Avenue, I have not been back. Mr. Ekstrom did say that he would clear the
6 cords of wood.
ward before tonight's meeting.
Was it 6?
It was 6
Yes.
cords of wood, yeah.
I mean, I live near there, so I can certainly take a look,
Okay.
and I will.
Okay.
Next item is are the minutes for September 24th.
Now, have these already been revised?
I sent
One
around.
Revised and revised. Revised from Louise and revised
So
from
this is the
Michael.
newest
This is the
version?
newest and improved.
I don't read them until I don't read them until I get them.
You want to be surprised?
The newest of the new.
Oh, as a matter of fact, I wiped off draft. Sorry about that.
You're feeling optimistic, eh?
Confident.
Uh-oh.
Well, hey, if you and Louise have both made corrections,
Yeah, but
really,
you haven't heard from the Wrath of Reich.
Right,
I
exactly.
know it. I was hoping he wasn't going to make it tonight.
Oh. Oh.
Snap.
You mean now that we've got
Come on.
now that we've got some wiggle room with more conservation members?
That was a little harsh.
It was a, yeah.
I'm
Wow.
Take it a number of ways.
See, now I'm gonna have to start actually looking at them more closely again.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
Shouldn't this be passed? That's no.
Supposed to be done before we get to the meeting.
Hey, we could go
That's
there.
right.
This is
He was
informal
supposed to
versus
proof
formal.
them. We've had since September when did I finally get
And
these
then
done
the
for the
preposition.
first time. I think I was pretty punctual getting them done first time.
They look good to me.
Yeah, I agree.
No pressure, Dan.
I've been reading them for a little while now. That's all again.
You got your packet okay, right, Dan? Did you get your packet?
I don't think.
These
Because I
ones are-
delivered
Should've
it to the
emailed it
back
to 'em.
door of your house.
Oh, that's why I didn't get it yet.
You didn't get it?
Well, I didn't look for it yet.
Oh. Well, I didn't know where to put it. It's probably soaked by
Oh
now.
boy, yeah, you're right. It probably is.
Oh, boy.
I would suggest the mailbox at the front of the house next time.
Well, except that
It was a
big.
huge
The front of the house or your driveway? Where is the best place in case I do have to deliver something? Because last time I put something on a mailbox, the
Probably-
mail person picked it up.
Probably inside the office side door then.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
right where I put it. But I don't think I opened the door. I think I just put it there.
Are we anywhere?
Go ahead, please, jump in.
Page 3, 4 Stonebridge Drive. I see my name there. I don't know if you really need to say, as it would be in the best interest of the town. I don't know. I don't even know if I said that, but how about I propose,
Actually, I had deleted some of that, Sheila.
You did?
I think, yeah, I know I deleted the previous sentence, this offer of the conservation area outweighs the waiver request. That doesn't make any sense. So that does have to be taken out.
yeah, I mean, it's understood that we gave them a standard order and they obviously have a waiver. And that you're preparing a narrative, I think that has to be in there, but I don't know, it just seems kind of superfluous to use a Dan Reich term.
And it wasn't.
Oh, yes.
And actually,
Yeah.
it wasn't Chuck that agreed to grant the waiver. It was the whole commission.
Yes.
So it
If it
should.
was up to me, things would be different around here. No, I'm kidding.
Oh boy.
Why
Yeah,
don't you just
very
wipe out that
different.
whole sentence? Do you want me to eliminate that entire sentence?
No. I
No.
would say that what you should do is instead of saying, you should take out Chuck Olson and put in the commission agreed to grant the waiver,
Yes, because I am.
finding it to be in the best interest of the town.
Finding it
To be in the best interest of the town.
All right.
I mean, I did make the motion and the conditions, and that's correct, but,
Speaking of superfluosity, I'm going to
oh boy.
I'm going to rewind to the first page. 723 Camp Police and Vehicle Recovery Class. We're going to strike some words out here.
Go ahead.
Third line, LKQ of Webster has donated a vehicle from which all fluids have been removed. Those other words, it's not necessary.
I agree.
Too many commas,
All
too many...
containers.
Yeah, just from which
What,
all
empty beer
fluids
cans?
have been removed.
Okay. Anything else?
Should I put hazardous fluids?
Just say all
fluids.
fluids. I'm pretty
Fluids,
sure.
they
I'm pretty
did
sure they
say.
said that all fluids had been
We're
removed
just
from
getting
it.
back to the nitty gritty.
Except for the water.
Yeah, right. The only fluid in that car is going to be water.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna check, because I can't,
I mean, there aren't too many fluids in a cart that aren't hazardous. Last time I checked.
Yeah. So you're saying if there's like a Dunkin' Donut container, then I'll
Yeah,
take it out of
coffee
there?
cup that. All right.
Sorry.
Any other changes?
I will defer to the judgment of my fellows this time.
Oh,
Can I have a motion, please?
I'll move to accept the meeting minutes of September 24th, 2014 as amended
Is there a second?
Second.
this time.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote. Okay, and Sheila, you are working on the meeting minutes for October 8th.
yes,
Okay, and you'll have them for our next meeting,
absolutely.
along with the meeting minutes for tonight? Maybe?
Oh, well,
We'll see.
I don't know.
let's see.
Okay, that's fine.
Are you asking?
All right, is there any other business?
There's one item, there was an email that Sheila sent over to us from the
Okay.
Forest Park folks asking us
Oh,
to
yeah.
attend the
Oh,
meeting.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
on-
Yes, he came in, he's a very nice man, Mr. Flu.
Yeah, third Thursday at 6:30 at
just-
Packagug Church. Would like to, a conservation member to attend there to
He
discuss
said one
conservation
or
items.
multiple members, just if someone could come, just kind of explain to them, you know, the do's and don'ts in that area.
I nominate Mike.
Wait, so
I didn't volunteer.
Having
So, you
a
say,
meeting at Pagatuck Church?
Yes, they have their
The
monthly,
Forest Park?
yeah.
the third
That's
Thursday is
Thursday.
That'd be
when?
tomorrow.
Thursdays are
Oh,
out
yeah.
for me.
Third Thursday of the month.
Is tomorrow?
Yes.
I have plans for tomorrow night. Nice try.
July.
Thursday. I work Thursday nights.
Oddly enough, I could make this, but
Well-
I don't know what I'm walking into.
Well, yeah,
Because-
it seems kind of vague.
Yeah.
I mean, A, we don't give advisory opinions.
I think,
and
you know what,
B,
I think it's a good idea. I actually think that outreach is something we don't do enough of. I mean, we count on people watching our meetings. I know we have our fan, or two, or five. But I think outreach is actually a good thing. I would suggest, maybe not this month, but maybe in November we could do it.
That would be the 20th.
That would be, the third Thursday would be Thanksgiving.
No,
No,
the
the
fourth.
4th
Oh, is it?
yes it
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
So I would suggest maybe we could tell Mr. Flug that we have a conflict for October, but we will try to make their meeting on November 20th.
Okay.
Okay? And we can take it up. We can discuss that at our meeting on November 12th.
Okay, so are we meeting at 8 at the,
The longstanding ritual of the Conservation Commission is to meet at the Heritage for breakfast at 8 o'clock.
because I didn't get the address, so I'm gonna meet there at 8 o'clock.
Outstanding.
on Saturday.
Okay, and all are welcome to attend. And if there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn? No?
So moved.
Okay.
I will second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's a vote. Thank you very much.